Yo, it's your boy J Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, episode 36. On today's episode, I will be updating y'all with the NBA playoffs, of course. Starting off with the Lakers and Warriors ahead of a huge Game 6 tonight in LA, a must win for the Lakers. And I'll talk about how the Suns got embarrassed on national television, and then I will talk about how the Celtics was able to force a Game 7 despite Jason Tatum's bad performance last night. All right. As always, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do. And without him, I would not be here right now. So tonight is a huge. You know what? I am tripping. Let's get straight to the point. I forgot to say that, but tonight is a huge Game 6 for the Warriors and the Lakers. And the Lakers lost Game 5, 121-106. And the Lakers are up 3-2, of course. But tonight is Game 6, and if they lose tonight, of course, there will be a Game 7. If they win tonight, they will move on to face the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. Game 5, I feel like there's not much to talk about. That game, I knew the Warriors would win, and they did. Draymond had 20 points, and when Draymond Green has 20 points, you're not beating the Warriors, okay? You already got to worry about Steph and whenever Clay can get hot or, well, not Jordan Poole now, but in recent memory, Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins. But when Draymond Green gives you 20, you're in trouble. So that night we was in trouble, and Curry had 27, shot 12 for 24, at 8 assists. The game, and we was down. We was down by double digits a lot in the second half, but we kept coming within 8 and then drop back to 12 and then come within 7 and drop back to 11. You know, they kept us in the double digit range when they hit timely shots. And it felt winnable until AD got hurt, of course, and that's when I knew that that was a nail in the coffin, that it was pretty much over with. And I predicted them to win Game 6 because Game 5. I'm sorry, 'cause I just knew that in Golden State we wouldn't end the series there, and I just had too much respect for the Warriors to say that we would win in 5 games. So I did say in 6, and tonight is Game 6. So I need the Lakers to come through tonight. I need Anthony Davis avoided a concussion last game. So that's good news, and he'll be playing tonight. But it starts with him. He has to be aggressive in the paint tonight. He needs to crash the boards, protect the rim, and then dominate the paint offensively. That's what we need. We need that presence on offense, because what does that do? It opens up lanes for LeBron to drive in, and not only that, but it opens up shots for the D'Angelo Russells and the Austin Reeves and the Lonnie Walkers and the Dennis Schroeders. It opens up shots, and Rui Hachimuras. It opens up shots for them whenever AD dominates the paint. I need LeBron to also give AD some help. I need him to attack the paint. He's been shooting a lot of threes. I've been telling y'all his three-point percentage has been low. It's like in the 20s for this series and the 20s for this whole entire playoff. So he doesn't have it going right now. So tonight, I'm expecting him to just attack. Okay, the couple games that we won this series, there was a huge free throw advantage, and I think we need to get back to that. Get back to winning the free throw advantage so we can even out our free throws with their threes, and I think we'll be good to go for tonight. So I'm expecting us to go ahead and pull out the win. No, if it does go 7 though, let's just say the Warriors can't pull it off tonight. The Lakers can't pull it off tonight. I do believe that the Warriors will win in 7, and it's because of the they're test driven. You know what I'm saying? They've been here before. They've been through plenty of Game 7s, and if you look at the Lakers roster, it's only really 3 veterans. I don't really count Dennis Schroeder, but if you want to, he's the third veteran, right? Him, LeBron, AD, right? There's only 3 veterans on the team. Tristan Thompson, he really doesn't play, so I really count him either. The rest of them are young and inexperienced. So in a Game 7, it's going to be horrifying for those players. I'm not worried about the ADs and the LeBrons and then the Schroeders. I'm worried about the Austin Reeves in a Game 7, the Rui Hachimuras in a Game 7, the D'Angelo Russells in a Game 7, because they haven't been in that situation before, especially going against a Warriors team that is just been through it all. So I do believe that the Warriors win tonight. They will win the series, and it'll be very unfortunate for a 3-1 comeback for it to be against LeBron now, right? Because LeBron completed 3-1 comeback against the Warriors. Now the Warriors to complete one against LeBron will be very unfortunate, but that will happen if they do not take care of business at home tonight. Now, can LeBron win in Game 7? I'm not saying he can't, but against the Warriors, the chances are very, very slim. It's like the Sacramento series. I told people, I said, look, if the Kings are going to win, they have to win in 6, or they have to win in 5. Because if it goes 7, I'm betting the house on Steph Curry and the Warriors to win in Game 7, even though it was in Sacramento. So imagine how I feel if the Game 7 is in Golden State against the Lakers, who, like I said, outside of AD and LeBron, it's a bunch of inexperienced players. So it's a must win tonight. Game 6, all the pressure is on LA. The Warriors can get this win. I believe they will be in the finals. Because I said whoever wins this series will beat the winner of the Nuggets and the Suns. And of course, it is the Nuggets. And speaking of the Nuggets, let's talk about what just happened last night. So last night, I'm thinking it's going to be a dog fight at least, right? I'm thinking that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant going to give us a great performance because they have to in order to win, because the team is just not deep enough. We've had this conversation before about how the team just doesn't have depth, and we talked about how this team needs somebody on the bench to help, right? Or they need Devin Booker and KD to score 70 points combined. And they've done it a couple times in the playoffs. And Devin Booker, he went on that crazy run during this series. And I think yesterday he was burnt out. Yesterday, KD only had 23 points, right? That's the fewest points in any playoff game this season. Devin Booker had 12 points. So I think they was both stars was burnt out. Really, I think Devin Booker was burnt out more than Kevin Durant, because Devin Booker is the one that's been giving us those 40-point games and those high 30 games. KD really hasn't given us those big KD games, if that makes sense. He's done his part because Devin Booker is doing majority of the work. So I would more so say that Devin Booker was burnt out. KD just didn't show up, in my opinion. In this game at halftime, they was down 30 points. It was never really a game, honestly. They was down 30 at halftime, and at halftime, Devin Booker and KD combined had 19 points. And Kentavious Caldwell Pope, we all know him. He's a 3-and-D guy. He shoots threes and play defense. Played for the Lakers a couple years ago when they won the championship. Kentavious Caldwell Pope had 21 points at halftime. Devin Booker and KD had 19 points at halftime combined. So you're not winning that game whenever they're not even the third best player has more points than your best two players combined at half, right? They just had a bad night, and this was the wrong night to have a bad night because now y'all are at home. In this game, they gave up 81 points in the first half, right? So there was no defense. Apparently, they couldn't make a shot between the two stars. So it was just a bad game all around. And people ask, was this season a failure? Was the season a failure even though they only had a couple of games? They didn't play a lot together, right? It was put together at the end. They made it to the second round of the playoffs. They played the Nuggets, right, who's the number one seed. They lost to them. They didn't lose to some 8 seed, right? They lost to a number one seed. I don't want to hear none of that. It's a failure. Okay, I do believe it's a failure because when you trade for Kevin Durant, when they made that trade, I even came up here and I said they're going to win the West. I wasn't really looking at the full team. I was just looking at the starting five. Okay, I thought DeAndre Ayton would be better than he was this playoffs. I thought Chris Paul would stay healthy and do better than he did in the first round. Even though he had a couple good games, he wasn't really the Chris Paul we know because not only is he aging, but he was playing the third option, right, versus playing the number two. And then Devin Booker and KD. So with this team, I'm thinking, you know what? They can probably win the West, but I did not look at how deep they were because they're not deep at all. And I found that out when they played the Clippers, and I saw the team wasn't deep, and I said, you know what? They cannot make a run for the championship when they only have two players scoring on this team. And so 81 points at halftime. They was down by 30 at halftime. This is the second time in back-to-back seasons, right? The two largest halftime deficits in Suns history was last year in Game 7, elimination game against the Mavericks. They lost by 30. Or they're down by 30, sorry, at halftime. And then last night, Game 6 against the Nuggets, they were down by 30. And both was in Phoenix, right? So when that happens, sometimes we got to look at the players, but then we also got to look at the head coach. So Monty Williams, it's not a good look. When your team is facing elimination at home, y'all lose down by 30 at halftime. That means you don't have your team ready, right? That obviously it got to be what it means, because if Devin Booker can put up these crazy numbers throughout the series, why in Game 6, like this year he had 12, last year I know he had a bad game in Game 7 against the Dallas, so you can really point the finger at everybody, honestly. Everybody did bad yesterday, from the coaching staff to the players to the people working at the concession stands to the people working in the parking lot. Okay, that's just how bad than that night was for Phoenix. And when you lose by 25 and you're down by 30 at halftime, that's not the way to go out. So yes, this season was a failure, especially when you lose like that. If they would have lost in Game 7 against the Nuggets, I probably would have cut them some slack, right? You know what, y'all made it Game 7. You know, Nikola Jokic probably just had a big game, but y'all lost in the second round in Game 6 at home, down by 30 at halftime, lost by 25. And one thing that bothered me was with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, right? Monty Williams had pulled his starters out. But the Nuggets starters was in. They were still in the game. Even though they was up by 20, they were still in the game. The backups had brought it within 20. And Monty Williams didn't call a timeout to put his starters back in. He basically just took defeat, accepted defeat with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. In today's NBA, the way the three ball is used, how skilled players are, you have Devin Booker and KD who can get hot at any moment. For you not to put them back in when you're down 20 with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, that is a problem in my opinion. I mean, you threw in the towel. You didn't want no more. You didn't want to win that game. You didn't try to win that game. You had no fight. And that's the problem. Monty Williams, I would be looking at him sideways if I'm in the front office like, bro, 4 minutes, 30 seconds, so there's plenty of time to make a comeback. Right? And you look at the Knicks the other day, Jalen Brunson played 48 minutes in that game. In Game 5 when they was down 3-1, of course they won that game, but Jalen Brunson played 48 minutes. Why is your starters not playing 48 minutes? This is win or go home, literally. And you're going home because you didn't want to try to make that comeback. Not saying they would have, but I would have loved to see them try to come back with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. So, unfortunately, I think Monty Williams is getting the majority of the blame. When I can also blame KD for 23 points. Devin Booker, like I said, I think he was completely burnt out. I mean, you can't. He was shooting 80% at one point, averaging 35, 37, something like that. So, I mean, I think he was burnt out because this also helps my argument that I made a couple weeks ago. I said, look, there's no way Devin Booker and KD can play. Because remember, they was playing the most playoff minutes in the playoffs. There's no way they could do that throughout 1, 2, 3 series and get to the finals. There was no way. I said eventually either they was gonna get hurt or they was gonna get tired. One or the other. And it looks like Devin Booker got tired. Kevin Durant, you can make the argument for him too, but 23 points from Kevin Durant in a closeout game, I just can't. And you wasn't putting up the numbers D Book was putting up, so you still had something left in the tank. Right, so I think KD gets some of the blame. Monty Williams gets some of the blame. DeAndre Ayton playing like garbage the whole series gets some of the blame. CP3, injury history, just a bad luck from him. That gets some of the blame. And then Devin Booker getting burnt out. That gets some of the blame as well. So this thing just ended so bad that it has to be a failure. Has to be. All right. Next, the Celtics in Philly, y'all. That will be a Game 7 on Sunday, on Mother's Day, I believe. That is the Game 7. And Philly, y'all dropped the ball on this one bad. Y'all really did. So Philly went up 3-2, right? They won that Game 5 in Boston. They went back to Philly. And I'm thinking, okay, you know what? Philly could really close this team out. That was before I knew Jason Tatum would have the worst game of his career. And when Jason Tatum comes out, it had 1 point at halftime, but y'all was still losing 50-43. That's a golden opportunity wasted because when Jason Tatum is playing that bad, you got to take advantage, all right? Joel Embiid finished with 26 points, 10 rebounds, shot 9 for 19, and played 41 minutes. I had a problem with the amount of shots he took. 19 shots is not enough in my opinion. You got to get the ball more and get up more shots, especially in a closeout game. Right, well, you're not trying to go 70 games, trying to end this game in this series in 6. You got to go a little harder, man. And then James Harden 4 for 16, 0 for 6 from 3, 13 points, 9 assists. Remember a couple years ago in Houston when James Harden was there, and we all said James Harden he chokes in the playoffs. He doesn't perform. Not in the game 1, 2, 3. We're talking about the game 6s and the game 7s, the games that really, really matter. He doesn't perform. And last night was a prime example that he doesn't perform in those big games. They need him in Game 7. He has to go into Boston and put on a virtuoso performance. I can't even spell virtuoso, but I used it, and it sounded pretty good. But he cannot play like this in Game 7 and expect them to win. I also expect Joel Embiid to have more than 26 points in Game 7. But James Harden, you have to bring an offensive presence other than assists. It's not the same. I feel like you can average 10 assists in the regular season, and it's cool. But when you're the second star on the team, Tyrese Maxey to me should not be the second leading scorer on this team. It should be James Harden. So when James Harden only giving me 13 points, shooting 0 for 6 from 3, 4 for 16 from the field, you're not giving Joel any help. So you have to play aggressive, James Harden. You have to if y'all want to win this series. When you play aggressive, y'all are successful. So keep playing aggressive. Stop being passive. Stop just giving the ball to Joel. Give Joel some help and go do some damage. All right. This game, Jason Tatum only had 1 point at halftime. Like I said, he was 0 for 10 in the first half, and they were still up 50-43. So it points out that Philly didn't take advantage of that, but it also points out how deep this Celtics team really is when your best player only has 1 point and you're still winning at halftime. At one point in the game, he was 1 for 13 through 3 quarters. Right, that is horrible. That was. Shannon Sharp said it today on Undisputed. That was dog poo. That's exactly what it was, and I mean, 1 for 14 at one point. He ended the game 5 for 21. Yes, he went off in the fourth quarter, but the game as a whole was bad. It was really, really bad. And that can give the 76ers a little bit of hope because Jason Tatum has not been the same this series, the same Jason Tatum that we know. He hasn't played to that standard this series. So that gives the Celtics a little bit of hope. I mean, the 76ers a little bit of hope. But in the fourth quarter, he did go off and he scored 16 points. Shot 4 for 5 from the 3-point line. He outscored Philly 16-13 in the fourth quarter. So, first of all, Philly to put up 13 points in the fourth quarter is bad. Especially at home in a game 6, you got to win. It's bad. But then for a player to single-handedly outscore you 16-13 is embarrassing. All right, and then the last 4 minutes, Joel Embiid not touch the ball. This is a part of him only getting up 19 shots. I do not agree with that. Joel Embiid has to have at least 20, 23, 25 shots a game. He has to. That's just how dominant he is. He's an MVP. So y'all need to get the ball in his hands. So I don't just blame. I blame Joel for not demanding the ball, right? But I also blame James Harden and the crew for not getting him the ball. Especially James Harden. If you're not gonna score, get him the ball. Basically, what I'm saying. I know I just kind of contradicted myself. I just said James Harden needs to be scoring, but then I just got mad at him for not getting the ball to Joel. But he wasn't scoring. So if you're not scoring, you got to get the ball to Joel, especially in the fourth quarter. And I got to blame Doc Rivers too for not pulling it, calling the timeout, saying, "Look, bro, y'all need to get the ball to Joel," especially when the game was, because I think they took the lead in the fourth quarter, but then Jason Tatum went off and brought them back in this game. But that is almost it for today. Actually, I have a surprise for y'all. I'm gonna talk about the All NBA teams real quick. And I got 2 people that I think was snubbed, absolutely snubbed. All right, the first team was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had a great year for a team that people thought was tanking, but they actually made the play-in tournament. So SGA deserved that. Luka Doncic, y'all know who Luka is. I talk about him all the time on the show. That's my dog. Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Giannis. All right, that is a perfect first team. There's nothing wrong with that first team. I think that first team is perfect. Every single person deserves to be there. There's not one person that I would take out, and there's not one person that needs to be in the first team. Maybe Steph, maybe Jokic, but I wouldn't put Steph over Shai or Luka. And I wouldn't put Jokic over Joel Embiid. All right. The second team was Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler. That's the question mark for me. In Nikola Jokic, I don't think Jimmy Butler should have been in the second team. Jimmy Butler only averaged 23, 6, and 5 in the season. We're not talking about playoff Jimmy. We're talking about regular season Jimmy. Regular season Jimmy, honestly, I ain't hear nothing from him all year long until the playoffs started. So I do think he shouldn't be in the second team. On third team, we got Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, LeBron James, Julius Randle, and Domantas Sabonis. Julius Randle, to me, should also not be in the All-NBA third team, and here is why. I have a replacement for him. Lauri Markkanen, or Markkanen, whatever y'all want to call him, from Utah. He played his butt off this year, and I really do believe you can put him in there instead of Julius Randle. Julius Randle averaged 25 and 10. But Lauri averaged 26-9, and he made the All-Star team. Julius Randle did not make the All-Star team. So to me, that's crazy that Lauri did not make this All NBA, at least the third team, right? So I would take out Julius and put in Lauri. And then for Jimmy Butler, if I could, because you know how all teams, you got to have a certain amount of guards, certain amount of big men. I would put Jalen Brunson in over Jimmy Butler. I think Jalen Brunson had a great year, especially this was his first year being the number one option on the team, and he provided. I mean, he averaged 24 and 6, and I think his name was way more. It was way more talked about than Jimmy Butler in the regular season. We're talking about strictly the regular season. I gotta put Brunson over Jimmy Butler. So I think Jimmy Butler shouldn't be in there, and I don't think Julius Randle should be in there. I think Lauri Marketing, I was seeing him hoop this year. All right, Utah. He had Utah in the playoff race majority of the end of the season, but then they ended up falling out, of course. But Jalen Brunson as well, I do believe deserves to be in the All NBA team, second team, and then Lauri should be on the third team, replacing Jimmy Butler and Julius Randle. All right, but that is it for today, y'all. I'm just gonna talk about NBA. I'm gonna talk about the NFL next on my next episode. But for today, I just want to talk about the NBA. All right, and y'all enjoy tonight, Game 6 with the Warriors and Lakers. I think the Heat and the Knicks are playing right now. But y'all enjoy tonight's game. Lakers is in a must-win situation. And then the Boston Celtics and the 76ers, Game 7 on Sunday. Y'all enjoy that as well. But that's all from me. Y'all stay blessed. Much love. Thank y'all for watching the Straight to the Point podcast. It's your boy Jay Best, and I'm out.